Hello, everybody. Welcome back to AEC Today Reports. We've had a month off. Can you believe that? But we hope everyone enjoyed the Reset Conference that was put on by our Delaware Valley churches. Some great messages. And the good thing about anything that we share, whether it's on YouTube or our Facebook, is that it's archived. So if you missed it, you can always go back and watch it. But we're just so happy to be back with you. And just so you know, going forward, we'll be live every Thursday at 7 p.m. No longer Tuesdays and Thursdays, just Thursdays, but we're doing our best to continue to bring you some of the great stories and information that you've enjoyed in times past. Now, I want to know, what have you guys been up to? What things have changed in your lives since we last talked? How is church going? Are there some new innovative things that you've found to do? Please let me know. We want to bring you on and interview and talk about all of those great things happening in your church or with you personally. Don't forget, email me at lhewitt@aecsda.com. All right, guys, as I said, we're happy to be back, and we're just going to jump right in after our quick break with some interviews, give you more information and updates about things that are happening in this conference. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. Yay, I'm so happy to be back.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
All right, everyone, welcome back to AEC Today Reports. We're back into the dialogue, finding out what's happening within our conference. And one of the biggest milestones that have happened since we last talked to you is that our schools have opened. Yay! And so we're going to invite our Superintendent for Education, John Alberty, to join us. How are you doing, Superintendent Alberty?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me this morning, Latasha.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So, I kind of mentioned schools are open now. Last time we talked, schools were getting out. I mean, we've gone through so much with our schools since this pandemic started, and we've been covering it. But now we're at that point where we're opening virtually. We have a few more plans in place. In your estimation, how have the first 2 weeks of school virtually been going?
Oh, it has gone awesome. So we have done some phenomenal things to make sure that our schools continue to operate and stay afloat. One of the things that we did that I want to talk about, we formed what we're calling a consortium of schools, where we brought 6 schools together to operate as one online school. What this has allowed us to do is to now have single grade classrooms, K through 8, for this consortium school. And the school consists of Calvary, Ephesus, Hillside, Trinity, Sharon Temple, and Jesse R. Wagner. And now students have the opportunity to make friends with students across the conference. And it has just been a wonderful experience. We have our back to school night coming up on Thursday at, I believe it starts at 6:30. So it comes up this Thursday at 6:30, and I'm excited about that. Finding out how much the parents are actually loving the program.
That's great. Well, I'm a parent within this school system, and I have to say that my girls who are in 4th and 6th grade, which is still hard for me to believe, have really been enjoying getting to be in class with other people. They come from one of our smaller schools. So this is the first time they've ever had like 20 people in their class, and they love it. And they're getting to know people, like you said, from all over the conference. So it is great. It's great. And we want to applaud our teachers for all the adjustments they've made and the preparation that they've done over the summer. So we're talking about K through 8 schools that have opened virtually. Now, Pine Forge Academy, our academy is, the students are back on campus. How is that going?
Well, before the campus opened, I did the walkthrough where I had to fill out a questionnaire, get my temperature checked. They gave me a yellow band to make sure I was clear. It was not showing any symptoms. And I walked the building with the principal, and they have HEPA filters all throughout the school building. They have them in the dorms. They've had air conditioning. I don't think Pine Forge has ever had air conditioning within the dorm rooms, which is exciting. They did the ultraviolet lights to kind of kill the germs in the dorm rooms. So they have done so much, Latasha, to make sure that our students are safe. Now, we know with coronavirus, there's no perfect plan, but the plan that Pine Forge has put together has been one to show that they're doing everything that they can. And they're still working on making sure that they continue to beef up the plan, that they monitor the plan to make sure that student safety is the first priority.
Yeah, and I've driven by the campus and I saw like the outside classroom settings, the tents and the screens out there. So I know that they're taking measures to be safe. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people have asked, since we're virtual, if the schools still have any needs for technology. Are there any needs for our schools, for our children, or are they pretty much taken care of?
Well, to be honest with you, we still need technology for those students who are at home. We just ordered 20 computers not too long ago. So, of course, there's a backlog on them, so we're waiting for them to come in. But we did put an order in for 20 computers. I want to give a special shout out to Pastor Graham, who was intricate in raising money to go towards those computers, and for those individuals who donated or gave money when we had our camp meeting. So I want to thank all of you who have donated to make sure our students have those computers. But because we have so many students across the conference, 20 helps, but we continue to need more that we can pass out to families so they have that technology at home.
Excellent, excellent. And I know we just are in the first 2 weeks of school. Is there someone who's watching this and they have a child that they may be interested in enrolling in our virtual school? How would they go about doing that?
So that's a good question. So you would go to whatever school is in your area. So if you're down in Virginia, you can go to Calvary, you can go to Ephesus. If you're up in New Jersey, you can go to Trinity. If you're in Pennsylvania, you can go to Hillside or Jesse R. Wagner. If you're in Delaware, you can go to Sharon Temple. So pick the school that is closest to you and enroll in that school. And the reason we say that is because the tuition that you will pay will be based on the area in which you live. So if you live in Virginia and you enroll in a school that's up in New Jersey, your tuition may be different as opposed to if you enroll in a Virginia school.
Good point. Good point. Put that out there. And we do have information on how to contact all of our schools on our website. Visit aec.org and you just hit that education tab and you can contact the schools directly. Well, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great school year. What's your prediction, Superintendent?
Well, I think I'm like you. I think it's going to be a great school year. God has blessed us. We've gotten off to a great start. Again, our K-8 schools, and I talked about the 6 in the consortium, but we can't forget Wilbert F. Mays and G. Peters and DuPont Park and Baltimore Junior Academy. They've also gotten off to a great start this year. So I'm excited. I think we have been ahead of the curve every step of the way, keeping our students safe, if that's operating virtually or even with opening up Pine Forge Academy and making sure we have everything in place to keep them safe on campus. So just keep us in prayer. And at the end of the day, I just want the students to be happy. I want the parents to be happy. And I want to make sure that we continue to grow. And I want to make sure I recognize the teachers. I don't want to end this call without saying they're just doing a phenomenal job. The reason that we're off to a great start is because of our teachers and our schools. So if you have a teacher in your church or a teacher that you know, lift them up, pray for them, continue to encourage them. And I think parents, now their kids at home, they realize how much teachers actually do.
Oh, yes. Yes, we have a newfound appreciation for our teachers. And I've always loved them. I knew they were great. But this is really showing how well they can adjust and adapt to a new environment. So we applaud all of our teachers for navigating this. All right. Thank you so much for giving us an update. Of course, throughout the school year, we'll be coming back and chatting with you about any new developments as it relates to our schools. And we want to applaud you for your leadership and making sure all of this was a smooth process, going into this virtual learning for our K-8 schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Latasha. Have a good one.
You too. All right, everybody. We'll be right back after a short break.
Thanks to your fervent prayers, Pine Forge Academy is strong. and the faculty and staff remain COVID-19 free. We are looking forward to an exciting future providing excellence in Christian education to students.
The PFA spirit doesn't live on campus.
It lives within us.
No matter where we are connected.
No matter where we are learning.
No matter where we are excelling.
And no matter where we are together.
As we look towards the future, Pine Forge's health and safety are.
We are prepared for action.
Our academics are prepared for achievement.
Our finances are prepared for affordability.
And we are prepared for acceleration.
Join us now as the legacy lives on.
We are Pine Forge Academy Strong.
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 We are Pine Forge Academy Strong. Join us now as the legacy lives on.
We are Pine Forge Strong. God is on our side. Our alumni are on our side. We will remain open for you and for generations to come. If we ever needed the Lord before, we need Him right now. We solicit your prayers for the Academy as we pray for you and your family. Thank you, and we are asking you to please, please stay safe.
All right, everyone, we're back after a break. We've been having some great dialogue about what happens with our schools, but we also have some other things going on in our conference. And this is one of our directors that you all in this audience have not had the opportunity to hear from. And I want to introduce my colleague and friend at this time. That is Pastor Colin Brathwaite Jr. How are you, Pastor Brathwaite?
I am fine. How are you this evening?
I am excellent. And just so you guys know, I call him Brath. So if you hear me just saying Brath, you know who I'm talking to. So good to have you. How's this pandemic been treating you?
Well, it hasn't been treating me too well. I got caught in the midst of it, and I lost my brother.
Yes.
So we're dealing with that, and doesn't seem real, but it has happened. So my family's dealing with that. So that's what we're dealing. Waiting for Jesus to come, waiting for him to come so he can get rid of all this pain. They call it a pandemic. I call it a pain-demic because there's a lot of pain and suffering and all kind of things. I'm waiting on Jesus.
Amen. That's all we can do. And, we've been praying, as an office family because we know how close you were to your brother. And, when it touches someone, you kind of feel the pain. So we've been feeling your pain and lifting you up. And so we're glad that you're even here today.
Thank you.
To share with us. And we appreciate you doing that. Now, we know, for those who don't know, Pastor Brathwaite is in charge or leads several ministries within our conference, Sabbath School, Ministries Development. Well, Ministries Development is the umbrella, and personal ministries, disabilities. But today we actually want to talk about Message Magazine. And let's clear it up for them, Brath. Is Message Magazine still alive and well?
Message Magazine is alive and well, we could talk about it needs a lot of support, and that's what we're trying to do. It needs a lot of support. I think that what has happened is that that through the years, our members have seen Message Magazine as something, should I say, akin to the Review, where it's informational for church members, where the focus of the Message Magazine has always been missional. It's been outreach. And I don't think that through the years we have done due diligence in educating our members and educating those who are following us what the real impact and what the Message Magazine is all about. So I think we've got a lot to do with education. I can probably make it akin to what's happening now. Our young people never knew the struggles in the 60s with Martin Luther King, but now they're seeing basically what's happening now in Minnesota and in Wisconsin and these kind of places, all in Georgia, where Black people are being just murdered in the streets, that they're now seeing the reality of what we've been fighting for over 50 years now. And so the message is something that needs to be brought to the forefront, that this is a magazine that is primarily for outreach, to reach those who we are not really doing, engaging. Many of us are, a few of us are engaging our work, those in the workplace, engaging our neighbors. So the Message magazine can be a tool that we can use to engage those with this gospel message that we believe that Jesus Christ is coming soon.
Absolutely. And I know that Message magazine, with Carmela at the helm, is really focusing on taking everyday issues. It's not it's not just dealing with spiritual matters, but it's taking practical everyday things that affect our community, dealing with those issues, and then kind of providing some inspiration. So I think sometimes people don't realize that the content in the magazines are things that like you said, their co-workers or neighbors could relate to. It's not necessarily like handing them the steps to Christ.
Right.
It's more journalism, great journalism that leads them to have a desire to know more about God in some way. Now, how long has Message magazine been in existence now?
Well, it really started in 1898 when James Weston White, it was the Gospel Herald. He started down in the Mississippi River. Back in those days, Black people could not be educated. So he got a boat, and they couldn't be educated on land. So his idea, I guess, led by the Holy Spirit, was to get a boat. And he brought Black people on the boat, and he taught them how to read. And from then in 1934, it became known as the Message magazine, which we know it as now. But it's been since 1898. It was used as a tool to educate Black folks, to teach them to read and have the necessary skills. And also a tool beyond that was to present them, help them to lead them to Christ, to the gospel.
Mm-hmm. Wow, look at that history. I didn't even know that's where it originated or how long ago. I mean, I think that stresses the importance of why it's something that we as a church, as a community, need to continue to support. We can't have something like that, fall in the cracks and suddenly disappear. Now, I understand right now, every year we have Message magazine campaign. And when we say campaign, what does that really mean? What are we saying when we say Message magazine campaign?
Well, it is a drive. It's to subscribe each year, to have your members, have members of the church to sponsor people. Like we said before, those in the community, family members who they want to reach, those at the job, just in the neighborhood, just to give them a subscription to the Message magazine. And this is outreach, it's ministry. As I said prior to it, it's doing work that many of us are not doing, and we are not engaging people in our neighborhood. So I guess we can silently send them have a small investment and send the magazine to those who we, or maybe even beyond that. It's not intrusive. Many times people don't want you to come up to them. So
especially now,
in an unintrusive way, we can reach people by sending the magazine. And maybe, and it calls for follow-up. And that's one of our weaknesses, is to, I sent you a magazine. How have you read it? How do you think about the magazine?
Mm-hmm.
So these kinds of things that can be done as far as outreach.
Excellent. So we know that through our churches, our members can sign up to purchase subscriptions for friends, family, those that even incarcerated. How would they go about doing it? Maybe their church isn't actively involved, but they want to participate. Would they just go to the Message magazine website?
Yes, they can go to messagemagazine.com. We've had a challenge this year with the pandemic, and most of the material has been sent to the churches, but because people haven't been in their churches, some of the campaign material has not reached our members. But because we can do this online. All you need to go is to messagemagazine.com, and all the information that you need to know is there. Some of our members have sponsored people in the past. You should have received by now that renewal information from Pacific Press. And all you need to do is to put a credit card to it or a check to it and send it back to Pacific Press, and your subscription will be renewed. You can add names, you can subtract names. I've looked at mine today and I had to add another name. So, and I'm in the process of sending mine in. So you can do that. All the information is given is on the messagemagazine.com websites. That's all we need to do.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it now, and I'm looking at the cost of the subscription, which is am I reading that correctly? $12.95 a year.
Right. And that date, that's now, it's been extended until the first week in October because of the pandemic and our challenges of trying to get the message out. We've extended it for another 2 months until the end of October. Well, it's 1 month now. The first week in October, this campaign price will be increased. So we're encouraging everyone to do what they can now while it's at this rate, and to subscribe as many people as they can to the magazine.
Awesome. And there's a lot of great archives on the websites for people to kind of check out and see some of the topics that Message Magazine covers if you're not familiar with it, or if you want to see how it's progressed over the years. So yeah, check out that website, messagemagazine.com. Okay, so we want to make sure we're doing our part to support the message, to get the message out there. So we've heard the call. This campaign is open through October 4th? What was the deadline?
October 4th. The first Sabbath is at the 3rd or the 4th. That's when it ends. Also, too, before I forget, I want to remind people that every week there's a weekly podcast that is produced by Message. Our editor, who is doing a fantastic, I must emphasize that, our editor, Carmela Monk, is doing a fantastic job with the message. She is bringing information that is relevant, that is timely, and she is tackling some of those issues that are at the forefront, race relations. So check out the weekly podcast. Go to message.com, and every week a podcast is produced for the Message Magazine.
Yes. I watch those on like Facebook Live when they come on, and then of course they archive them right on the website. So even if you've missed some of the previous ones, you can go check it out on messagemagazine.com. All right, guys, we've heard the call. We got to get out there and spread the message. Literally, Message Magazine. Let's use this as another tool to introduce people to Christ, to help them think critically about the things that are happening around us and what does it all mean. All right, let's do our part. Message Magazine, messagemagazine.com. Go ahead and sign up and get your subscriptions there, and make sure your friends and family and loved ones and strangers alike can be exposed to this great message. Anything else we need to know, Brath, before?
No, we just need your support. We just need your support. Our subs have not been, because of the challenge with COVID, and we haven't been able to meet to emphasize it, but so we need your support, and we hope that this message, this interview will spur you to you, the member, to get your subscriptions in. We want people to know this truth. We're living in the last days, and we can see it before us. And what a better way to share the gospel than using the Message Magazine.
Absolutely. And I want to throw out there, if you have been someone who's been reading Message Magazine or have a story related to Message Magazine in terms of it helping you, create a dialogue with someone else, please let us know, because I know Carmela is very interested in those kinds of stories, to kind of show how Message Magazine is still being used to bring people to Christ. So if you out there are listening, you have one of those kinds of stories about Message Magazine and its impact, let us know so we can get the word out and share it with others. All right, Brath, we thank you for talking with us and sharing about Message Magazine. I'm sure we'll talk again about some other
we've got a lot of other things, prison ministry, disabilities, and personal ministries, and Sabbath school.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of other things we'd like to discuss and that we're doing, even though we're not. I understand. Well, I won't say it. I'll wait till the next time. We'll leave that in suspense.
Okay.
We'll tell them about what I was going to say.
Okay. All right. That's good enough. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Brath, for that wonderful interview. And we'll be right back after another quick break. All right, everyone, welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned after the break. We're always excited to share some of the stories of what's happening with some of our churches, particularly during this COVID time. And right now, we're going to talk about some more of our churches that have been involved with something very important in the community, and that involves COVID testing. And so I want to welcome some special guests here with me today. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Some of you within Allegheny East may recognize our own pastor, Melvyn Hayden III. Tell the two churches that you pastor, Pastor Hayden.
Yes, I'm right now pastoring the Glassboro and the Salem, New Jersey churches. The Salem church is called Mount Calvary.
All right. Now we have another special guest with us. Would you mind introducing him to our audience?
I would be honored because he's a good friend of mine. We went to Oakwood together. This is none other than Derrick Green, and he is a senior advisor for diversity, faith, urban, and regional growth he works for the governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy.
Wow, that's quite a title. Welcome, Mr. Green, Derrick Green, to AEC Today Reports. We're happy to have you here. And as I kind of alluded to, we're talking about our churches being involved in COVID testing, and Pastor Hayden just shared that wonderful title of yours. Tell us how you fit into this picture. How did you become involved with our churches being involved with COVID testing? First of all, let me back up. You can tell us how you got involved, but also the other churches aside from Pastor Hayden's that have been involved in this COVID testing and how it all came about. Can you just give us a quick summary of that?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you all for having me on today. I first want to say that my Allegheny East roots go back to my days at Pine Forge Elementary School, which is PFE. So I am a Allegheny East kid. My father and mother worked at Pine Forge for many years, so I'm happy to be on this call. I serve as a senior advisor to the governor of New Jersey, and we got hit hard through this pandemic. And when more testing became available, we found that Black and brown people were not getting tested, and we were disproportionately impacted by the virus. And so I thought, and God impressed upon my heart through a prayer call that I have every morning at 8:00 with community and faith leaders around the state, that we needed to provide safe spaces for people to get tested, particularly Black and brown. And so there's no safer space than the church.
That's right.
So we made a call. The governor announced it. He announced the initiative. We went out on faith, and some laboratories and urgent cares, and a pastor by the name of Amir Khan got in touch with us and said, listen, we want to help you all do this. And we began to have testing sites at churches. And so it has been just very, very, very successful. And I want to just thank the Seventh-day Adventist churches in the state, Pastor Hayden, Pastor Johnson in Plainfield, and Pastor Smith in Teaneck. And as a matter of fact, in Pastor Hayden's church, we did almost 100 tests. And really, it's almost 200 tests because they're both COVID and antibody.
Right.
And Pastor Johnson in Plainfield did over 2-day period, did over 280 tests, which meant that there were about 500 tests there. And in Teaneck, Pastor Smith did about 75 tests in one day, which means that he did about 150 total. So we want to thank the Adventist churches for being involved. I know that at the end of this month, Pastor Dr. Stoddart will have a testing site in Orange. So the Adventist churches are just have been extremely helpful throughout this whole process. And we invite other churches. These labs will go to Pennsylvania, they'll go to Delaware, they'll go to Maryland, DC, to do testing because it's needed. We got to get people tested, and we also need to know folks that have the antibodies as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That's awesome. It's amazing what these prayer calls can lead to, everybody.
That's
so
right.
Pastor Hayden, when you heard about this initiative from Mr. Green here, what made you want to be a part, or how did you decide to get your church involved?
Well, the Mount Calvary Church in Salem is pretty active in the community. We have a food pantry every Tuesday that we feed between 60 and 80 people every Tuesday. So we love our community and connect with them quite often. But I have been praying about something more that we could do for our city. And in fact, COVID testing was something that I always wanted to do. So when I got the call from my good friend Derrick, no question, I was like, absolutely. Talked to my leaders and we nailed down a date. And they actually chose the same date that we do the food pantry. So that worked out perfectly because that was a little closer to the church, where the parking lot is about 50 yards further up, where there were tents set up. And I had an opportunity to talk with everyone coming in and greet them, introduce myself. But then those at the food pantry, they looked over and said, hey, what's going on? And so a lot of them just walked right over and got in line. So we had a wonderful, wonderful day.
Okay, cool. I was going to ask you what that process is like for a testing site. When people come up, what are the steps or what are the stations that are in place?
Mm-hmm. You want the pastor's version or do you want the official version?
I don't know. The best version. I'm not going to say which one is which.
Well, from my standpoint, what I noticed was there was a registration table.
Yep.
We brought out additional chairs, spread them out in the parking lot, more than 6 feet distance. And individuals went to the table first, filled out the paperwork, and also many registered online prior, but they still filled out the paperwork. And then the process didn't take that long, but they had to hear my annoying voice greeting them for a second, which they didn't mind. And then they went to the next table that got more information and their insurance and their ID. Everyone has to have their own ID when they come. Everyone wore masks. So it was a completely safe environment and place to be. And then after that table, right next to it was the table where they actually took both tests. They only had 2 workers. Those ladies worked for 8 hours straight.
Wow.
I brought them water and cold pizza, and they were just working,
knocking it out.
And so thank God for their service. And the lady that actually did the COVID testing, she said that when she had the test done, she felt it was a little bit uncomfortable how the swab went up the nose.
I heard about that.
But she said because of that experience, she made up her mind that she would try to do it as gentle as possible. And so it was great. I didn't feel any pain at all. Of course.
Oh, so you did it. You did it. Okay.
And so I was tested. And also when she did it, the funniest thing happened was I busted out laughing. I said, did you ever get that, happened before, but when I got tested, it actually tickled. It was a pleasant sensation. It was not a hurting sensation. So,
Wow.
well, that was my
That's the
experience.
first I've heard someone actually laughed at the process.
Right. Someone else sneezed at the process, a little tickling, but no one said that they were hurt or in any way, or that was that uncomfortable as they have heard in other places. So
a couple other things as well. The testing site was outside.
That's right.
So that the testing site was outside in the parking lot. One of the key factors was just the church's, Trey. I know him as Trey from Oakwood, so I have to call him Trey. Was just extremely gracious, passing out flyers. The mayor of Salem City also got involved in a major way. So the local leaders got involved with the church and just made it a community event, which was fantastic. Now, some churches that we've done have had the testing site in their community center, like we did the big St. Matthew's Baptist Church in New Jersey, down in South Jersey, and they did it in their community center. So some churches do it outside in the parking lot, some do it in their community centers. So it just is up to the pastoral leadership of how they want to do it. But I just want to say again that Pastor Hayden was just absolutely awesome. And when it came to being the host, he greeted every single person that came up and their children. So it was ministry as well. And so I just want to give you the kudos, Trey, for your outreach efforts to make that day successful.
Thanks, Derrick. You're too kind.
No, I can imagine. He's always been an excellent host and keeping everyone's energy up. And so going through something like COVID, it's good to have that personality present when you're about to do something like that. So that's great to hear. And now in terms of the results, how do individuals who were tested get their results after this process?
So what happens is that the way that this company does it, if you are there's a portal that when you sign up, you'll receive information about a portal that they will give you your test results. If you are positive, you will get they will contact you, and they will also contact the Department of Health so that they will help the folks what they call contact tracing. All right. So you have to do that. So they will get contacted by through that portal and through the laboratory or through the doctor that's assigned to them. If you are negative, then you will not get basically if you don't get called, then you're negative. And many people do not get a call, and so they get nervous. But if you do not get a call, that means that you were negative.
Okay, so that's a good sign. If you
It's a
don't
good
hear
sign,
it,
yes.
Okay, great. Now we kind of referenced that this is something that you're encouraging other churches to do because mostly people associate church with being a safe place. If there are other people within those territories that you mentioned who are interested in their church being a testing site, what should they do? What are the steps?
I will give my cell number, and they can give me a call. They can also give Trey a call as well. They can call me, and then I will give them the number to the Pastor Amir Khan, who is one of the ones that coordinates the lab who's involved in this. So my number is 240-752-2211, 240-752-2211, and just reference that you heard us through this. I guess this is a Facebook
Facebook
program,
and YouTube.
Facebook program, and of course you can give Trey a call as well, and he'll put you in touch with me, and then we can put you in touch with Pastor Amir Khan, who will then schedule it with you. There's a whole process that they go through, but it's very easy. It's very easy and simple, but it's a process to make sure that the outreach is there, so that the community is engaged and they will participate. But I would recommend that churches everywhere, Wilmington, Baltimore, Chester, Philly, DC, Maryland, everywhere, try to do this so that folks will get tested.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're in Virginia too.
You said Virginia?
Yeah, we're in Virginia too, Allegheny East.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We're in Virginia as well. All the way down to Richmond, right?
Yeah, it will represent, testing in all of our areas. So that's awesome. So hopefully everyone will take advantage of that. I'm going to put that number back up so everyone will see. If you want your church to be a part, there's a number right there on the screen. Reach out. Go ahead, Pastor Hayden.
I just wanted to add this information because sometimes when churches are taking on another project, they may be concerned about the manpower or what is the process and require of them to prepare for something like that. So for us, all we needed to do was basically clean up the area where we knew that traffic was going to be and set up 3 tables. At each table, they wanted 3 chairs. And then we put additional chairs in the parking lot for other individuals that were coming so they don't have to stand in line. So we had at one point, we had as many as 8 chairs scattered in the parking area. So other than that, we carried that out, set it up, cleaned up the area, and then after everything was over, wiped everything down and took everything back into the church. So because they work so hard, I would recommend if you could provide a little water for the workers, that would be nice. And they may need to use your rest facilities, but ours were tough. They went straight through.
Sorry. For our churches, there's minimal required on your part. If you make sure you have an outside space that will be conducive to the environment, provide some tables and chairs, and they do all the hard work. You do want to make sure you have a friendly greeter like our Pastor Hayden, who is present to greet everyone, of course. But that's great. I'm glad to see our churches being involved. And now you have the information if you're out there listening and you want your church to be involved. If you're a pastor, you know the number to call. I'm going to put it one more time. Or if you're a church member and you want to suggest this to your pastor, you can write this number down and then give it to them as well.
And I'd also like to say real quickly that, and this is something that's very important, the Seventh-day Adventist churches here in New Jersey, and when I lived in Maryland as well, I make it a point to get them involved, and they are involved in public policy initiatives and efforts and community efforts in this state. I'm very proud of that. As a matter of fact, the governor here, Governor Murphy, has delivered 2 addresses at the Church of the Oranges, 2 policy addresses for Juneteenth celebration. So the governor here is aware and appreciates and loves the work that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is doing here in New Jersey, making a huge impact. And that's a part of our ministry. Matter of fact, the governor and I, every Saturday, we text each other, Happy Sabbath. We do that just planting a seed. I don't know. We just plant a seed, just planting seeds, planting seeds. That's what I was taught at Oakwood. Enter to learn, depart to serve. So I want to give kudos to the Seventh-day Adventist churches that are here in New Jersey. And also, I can't forget Pastor Deluska as well.
Yes.
Very much so involved here in the state. So it was a natural transition to get them involved in COVID testing as well. And they have really stepped up to the plate in a big way.
Awesome. We couldn't see you, but we can certainly hear you. And we thank you. We thank you for
technology is something.
We understand. But it's great. I'm glad to hear that, Adventists are being associated with community involvement, which is something I think our church has struggled with it.
Yes.
And so it's great to hear that even through the pandemic, this is one way that we as Adventist churches can show that we do care about our communities, and we're demonstrating it with our actions. Well, thank you, gentlemen. This is a great report to hear. 3 of our churches within a week were involved in testing and helping several hundreds altogether to find out their status and test for the antibodies. So that's great news. And once again, anybody else out there is interested in hosting, please reach out to Derrick Green. That number, one more time, is right there. Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate you all sharing this experience.
God bless you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you too.
All right. Okay, everyone. That is all we have right now for this segment, but we'll be right back after this break.
The Bible tells us in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land." If there were ever a time that we needed to come together in prayer, it is now. Therefore, our president, Elder Henry Fordham, is calling on you to join us as we band together in prayer. Pray corporately with us every day at 12 p.m., and in addition, 3 times a day. We believe that God will honor the faithfulness of His people as we band together in prayer. Please pray with us and watch God move.
All right, everybody, we're so glad to be back with our AC Today reports, but we're also glad that you tuned in for this episode. We know a little bit about how our schools are doing as we start off a new year, mostly virtual. We're happy to learn about our Message Magazine campaign, and we hope all of you are going to not only subscribe, but get some subscriptions for some of your friends and coworkers. And it's great to see what our churches are doing to provide testing opportunities for the community. So great interviewees. So happy to have our guests with us today. Don't forget, if you have stories that you think we should hear about, let me know. Email me at lhewitt@aecsda.com. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you watching. After all, the more you watch, the more you know. We'll see you next Thursday.